Hey everyone, my name is Bobby Erickson. I am co-owner of Erickson's Photography, and we're going to continue our three-part series of setting up Asana. Now, this is the second video that I've done. Make sure if you have not already watched the first one, you're going to want to watch that first one so that way you can follow along and be able to do the steps that I'm taking. And then the last video will be the third part that'll kind of round it out. And then once we get past that, we'll do some more deep dives. But these are the three-part series of really just getting Asana set up and making this project management tool work for you. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. And I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you. All right. I'm going to keep kind of going through, keep building upon what we have looked at. Now, this look is a default look, but if you want different tabs here, you can click on customize and you can do, created by, created on, last modified, completed on, different projects. So I'll just click on this. So now you can say who it's created by. You can also add in custom fields to this. You can do all these different things. So I'm going to do like a promise to client date. We'll add it to our field library so that way it shows up all across everyone's Asanas. Now you can notify collaborators when that field is changed. We're not that big micromanagers. We just like to be able to see this. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that field. All right, and I'm gonna turn off created by. Don't really need to know about that. And then we'll come down here. And so I clicked on the show more. And so this is where the rest of this is at. So you can see there's so many options in here that you can really customize that look and feel of what works for you. So, we use priority, we actually don't use the status. So I'm going to turn that off, but I'm going to leave the promise to client date. That is something that we use. So if I was customizing it, here's one way that it could look for the customization. So if we know, create album, if we promise that, so I'm going to assign that to myself. It's going to be after the shoot. So let's just give myself a few days. All right. And let's say I know I promised that we would have that book and album to the client by March 1st. So now that's in here. And so when I come back out to this view, I can now see, okay, promise to client. Okay, I know that this has to be to this client by March 1st. I can see that the due date is on the 15th. So that gives us a couple of weeks to edit photos, a couple of weeks to make our albums, and all knowing that that deadline is March 1st. Now, I could get rid of this and just leave this due date as March 1st. But when it comes to something really important, this is kind of where my backup plan comes into place. So I know my end date, I have to have this done as by March 1st. If I was just to use that due date March 1st, and let's say I got busy and I just happened to let that task go by, and now it's March 20th, shoot, I realized I need to have this done by March 1st. This was super important. I've now lost a few days. Where when it comes down to March 15th, I will now see this in my calendar due date. And it's a really good reminder of, hey, you need to start this project because we have a promise. Now, we don't always promise everything on certain days. Every now and then we do. Certainly an album is a really good example of times that we could have a promise to date. So that's how I use that field. And I definitely recommend you try using that field as well, just because it's really helped me into making sure I stay organized and I get this promise to the client date. Also, once it comes, if it's March 20th and I've already started, I keep moving this due date out just a couple of days just to keep a reminder that I need to stay on top of this and I need to keep working on this. So there's so much more in here to the customization that I can do a deep dive into this further. It's just we don't always use those. And I have before. If you have a big photography team, I'm really happy to go in and show that, but maybe reach out to me on social media, and that'd be something, just one off, that I would be happy to do a quick little video and kind of guide you on what those are. So that's kind of the information. One cool thing here is you can also do that save layout as default right here. Just know if you click it, it's going to save this layout for everyone else. And the reason why that's important is I'm going to go ahead and change this. So right now I have it set to show all tasks. You can do all of these items. So if I say only show me completed tasks, well, we haven't completed a single task, so there is nothing in here. So now I click save this layout. Every time I come into this task list, it's going to show me that default layout of completed tasks. And that would be the same for the rest of my teams. Like my wife was to come here, and if she didn't know I saved that, she'd be like, oh my gosh, we're missing all these tasks. Where'd they go? Trust me, that's how I've done this. This is how I know about this. So I'm going to put this back to all tasks, save as the default. So that way we're back. But that's a really cool, like if you are starting to get into a project and you're like, you know what? I only care about incomplete tasks. That way it'll hide all the completed tasks. You can do that, save it as a layout default. And so now when you come in here, you will only see tasks that are incomplete. And then if you want to see completed tasks, you can either click on it or you can click on all tasks. So that's a really good way. Once your project starts getting out of control and you have all these major tasks in there, I do recommend switching it over to the incomplete task and saving that view. And as we build this out, I'm sure in another video, I'll cover that again and kind of show you what that looks like with completed tasks. So next, I kind of want to show what these all do. We've kind of touched on a lot of other things so far within this project. So now this is the overview. This is who you can see where it's at. Honestly, I don't use this that often. This is the list that I use. And here's what the board view looks like, where you can see it in a different layout. If that's helpful, you can always do that. You can always save that layout as well if you like the board versus the list. It's loading the timeline. So here's, if you're used to doing those Gantt charts, this is where you could really set it up kind of like that. Since I use the end dates, this hasn't really helped me. This calendar view is a really cool view for this. This is where you can see all the official tasks and where they're at that are in that list. So this calendar view, I don't use it all the time in a portfolio, but I do use it on my own tasks, which I'll definitely show here in a little while. You can set up workflows. You can see this dashboard of where things are at. You can see messages. You can see files. So the main two that I really will, that you'll see me use, it's always this list view as the default. It's just is my best way of viewing it. And then, like I mentioned, every now and then I'll definitely cut over the calendar and just look at everything, especially as this project grows. That will keep growing as well. So that is kind of where everything's at as far as those buttons go, and kind of learning more in here. I feel like we've gotten a really good handle. This project is now set up, that we have our task in there. Still need to create more tasks and really build this project out, which we will definitely keep doing. And so with that, let's keep moving on. And actually, this is a really good stopping point for video 2. So we will stop here and we will continue on with the rest of this for video 3. I really appreciate everybody watching this. Thank you.